But I'm gonna tell you something right now. J. Cole is by the end of this might end up being, in my opinion, the greatest rapper alive right now. This is beyond incredible. J. Cole just dropped his brand new album, The Fall Off, and it dropped at 12 a.m. on February 6th, and it is 12:52 a.m. So I figured what better time than the present to go ahead and review this entire album. That's right. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm obviously going to skip over the actual songs and just discuss the actual review of the songs, and at the end, the review of the album. And then if you are on Patreon and you are subscribed to my Patreon for $5 a month, you are going to be able to watch me actually listen to the song and react to everything in real time. So you're watching this and it's happening. If you're on YouTube, you can't see that part, but you can subscribe to the Patreon and watch my entire full listen and review and final thoughts at the end. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Let's do this. J. Cole, The Fall Off, 29 intro. Let's go. Wow. Okay. That ended really interesting. So 29 intro was great. The twist at the end was interesting. So first of all, James Taylor, Carolina in My Mind. Excellent song. 1968, 1970, something like that. James Taylor is one of my favorite artists. So like, it was really great hearing the callback to that song. As you guys know, J. Cole is from North Carolina. And so being able to hear that actually was a great callback to just the vibe, the soul of who he is and what, he's all about. And to hear it end like that with violence was shocking, to say the least. So that was just the intro to disc disc 29. And so I'm very excited to hear what's next. So that was great so far. Let's keep going. That's killer. Okay, no, hold on. It was really good. I try so hard not to talk in between, like while the song is going. That's disrespectful. I know a lot of people that review music, they'll sit there and pause it. I don't like doing that. I'm gonna listen to the whole thing. So, okay, so I like 2-6 because it's really aggressive, right? J. Cole in this particular song is really talking about where he came from, why he was so apt to fight for what he had. I love that because a lot of rappers have the same story. I came from the mud, I came from the bottom, I showed up, I'm doing my thing, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Okay, we like that. But what he started going into was like, okay, but there's a difference between me and them, right? Which every rapper does at some point, but J. Cole has done that really well over the past, decade or so. And the way that J. Cole separates himself from regular artists and he separates himself from the average person is that he always says this. He's like, look, I don't need this. I want to do this. I'm doing charity work for y'all. I am so creative and so incredible that what I do, my rhymes, my songs, they're that good. These are classics. And everything that y'all make are not. It's just not. And no matter what you guys do or say, at the end of it, you guys are just chasing clout while I'm over here chasing, I'm chasing actual, legacy, right? You guys are chasing clout and fame, and you guys, there's a line where he said, y'all not even making a bag off of what you're talking about. And there's that distinction again that J. Cole is like, okay, sure, I fell off face first. I'm here where I'm at now because of some of the things that I said or did, but I'm still better than all of y'all. Just like that. I mean, okay. I love the beat. The production was incredible. I like the direction. This sounds two songs in, it sounds really good. So, yeah. All right, let's rock with the next one. Let's do it. Yes. Safety. This is great. This song is great. It's a story. And it sounded, I couldn't quite tell if he was talking about his brother, Zach Cole, which there's plenty of times where J. Cole has talked about his brother Zach in a lot of his songs, his older brother Zach. And Zach was incarcerated, I believe, back in 2016, 17. There was a song that J. Cole had made called Crooked Smile that was about his brother. And so I can't quite tell if this was about his brother or a friend of his, but either way, it was a story about, just coming up in the hood. This particular person was giving J. Cole a call, letting him know, hey man, I love you. Like, you're doing a great job. Just giving him an update on everything that's been happening in J. Cole's hometown where he's from. Right. And so evidently there's been a lot of deaths, a lot of, violence in their area, and just giving J. Cole updates, but also telling J. Cole, don't come. Don't come. Like, be where you are. Don't come out here and try to do all, just be successful, be great. We're all going to figure it out, but just keep going on the track that you're going on, and I guess this was also just kind of alluding to the stories of a lot of people that go back to the hood. And there's a lot of, downfall that happens with that, right? We know of people like Nipsey Hussle who went back to his hood, who tried to help and tried to build and, create community, and ended up having some of his own people turn on him. So like, we are well aware of some of the consequences of going back to the hood, and safety is, my theory is that safety is about his brother or this person, his friend, telling him, stay away, stay safe. Okay. There's safety in being that far away. Why? We love you. We know you're doing a great job, but just stay over there. Like, we're good over here. Okay. And I think there's a certain level of care and love, that comes through that message of, we know you want to come back here. We appreciate some of the help you have given us, but stay where you are. Keep being successful. This place will only drag you down. There's a lot of love and care in that message. And this sounded like a voicemail almost. And there's a lot of rappers that have done the old voicemail message, I know one that I like a lot is Under Pressure by Logic. His debut album, Under Pressure. And similar, right? Voicemail, hey, calling, giving you an update. Here's what's going on. Don't come rushing back here. We love you. Keep doing your thing. I love it. That was great. Safety, amazing. On to the next song, Run a Train. Now, wait, before we get on to Run a Train, there are some people who were making jokes about J. Cole, and they were like, yeah, Run a Train. Okay. J. Cole released some of his track list before, obviously, the album came out, which is what you usually do, right? When you're promoting an album. Some people online were like, man, I really hope J. Cole not sitting here trying to talk about sex again. J. Cole is not good he's not good at talking about sex, which I disagree. Sounds weird. It sounds weird. Well, let me back that up. J. Cole has talked about sex in other songs. Wet Dreams, I think, was a great story. But I also understand with this, there's some lines that J. Cole has posited and provided to us on some of these songs regarding sex that I disagree with. So hopefully, we don't know what Run a Train is about. Let's just listen to Run a Train, and we'll see what's up. Okay, here we go. That song was gorgeous. It sounded, the approach. Okay, wow. All right, Run a Train is great. One of my favorites so far. Between Safety and Run a Train. So Run a Train is fuck the world, let's run a train. That's basically, it's not about sex. It's not about like a girl or anything. Fuck the world, let's run a train. Basically saying like, y'all don't understand. The chorus really is just, what do you know about Jermaine? You don't know about my pain. You don't know about what I go through. And the body of the song, the message that J. Cole is communicating is, y'all don't know nothing about me. So let me just give you a taste, right? Although you understand my music, you've heard some of it. You have to understand from my perspective, I'm looking at my city and I am in shock. I'm in pain that so much of this has been going on, right? That it pains me to come back to this place to see it like this. I've almost lost love for this place because it's so damaging, and J. Cole almost feeling like he has to take responsibility for Fayetteville, North Carolina, his hometown, having to take responsibility for these deaths and the lives lost and the poverty. And, he even at one point, he even called it Vietnam, right? Like a play on the word like Vietnam, like, just because it's that much going on there, and it's sad because, you can hear in his voice, he longs for his city, right? There's some nostalgia that he feels. And there's tons of artists that have, we know Kendrick with LA, Drake with Toronto. Name a rapper, Atlanta. Are you serious? There's tons of rappers from Atlanta that talk about the city, that talk about its, where they came from and what's happened to it. Like, everybody mourns for their own particular city. But I think J. Cole has a different perspective because he's not from a major city like Toronto or LA or Atlanta. Fayetteville, North Carolina is not a major city by any means, right? in fact, just doing some research on it, I think Fayetteville, North Carolina, maybe has what 200,000 people, maybe, right? And to be clear, that's not a tiny city, but like compared to the major cities, right? LA, New York, that kind of, it's way smaller. And so I think even in this song, Run a Train, he's just discussing his feelings toward the fact that Fayetteville, North Carolina has not grown or progressed in the way that I think he wanted. And he misses those times and those experiences, but also understands that those experiences cause a lot of trauma within him, right? Because even while you're growing up in this town that you love, there are things that you saw, there are things that you had to do. There's survival that you had to experience, and lives lost that you had to grieve. And I think all of that was packed into this one song, fuck the world, let's run a train. And so I like that. I like that a lot. So let's head over to Poor Thing. So far, Safety and Run a Train are my favorites. I'm feeling both. These are really great. Really great. And the beats are so, I mean, old school, very aggressive. It's great. So all right, Poor Thing. Let's go to Poor Thing.
The person you're trying to reach.
Wow. Okay. That was intense. That was really, really intense. Like, I'm getting a vibe from these songs. There's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of anger, right? Run a Train was about the anger toward his city, right? Toward the condition of his city. Safety was somebody like, yo, stay away from this place, bro. Right? Then Run a Train about the city itself. Poor Thing was about the people in the city, specifically J. Cole himself. Now, this is what I was hearing. My theory is J. Cole got some beef in the hood, bro. I don't know who beefing with J. Cole, but somebody don't like this man in wherever. So, like, it was J. Cole, basically, Punk Bitch was part of the rhyme scheme, right? And he was like, I'm going to see what's up, Punk Bitch, and I'm going to come through, and we going to run the fade, Punk Bitch, and, oh, you thought I wasn't about it? Well, let me come through to the city, Punk. Like, it was him. It was like a part of him was like, I got to come back to the city to show y'all niggas what's up. Y'all think I'm soft, and I'm not soft. I don't care how much money I got. I'm going to come through, and I'm going to beat your ass. Like, that was the type of energy he was giving on this, and I love it. But I'm like, who was he talking to? I want to know who that was toward. Because at first, it sounded like it might have been toward, some people he was beefing with publicly. No. This sounded like it was some private, like, childhood bully thing that he was going back to the hood to sum up. You know what I mean? And the way he was so aggressive in it. And at the end, it was really interesting because right at the end of the song, like last 10 seconds, he was calling somebody, right? And he was trying to get in contact and kind of practicing how to say it. Hello? Hello? Hey, how you doing? Right? Calls the person and then boom, they don't answer the phone. He sounds frustrated. And I think that whole song was almost like just him being very angry, very upset, and and then it was almost like in order to get permission to go back to do what he was going to do, he was trying to call somebody to like get the permission to come back, but they didn't answer. And so there's this theme of safety or keeping J. Cole safe from coming back to Fayetteville, North Carolina that I'm kind of getting throughout this whole disc 29. He is lamenting the condition of his city. He's lamenting his past, but also being nostalgic toward it, but also wanting better for the future. It's a lot going on here, but this song in particular is really, you know what? I need to start adding this to my playlist. Hold on. These are all getting added to the playlist. I'm making sure I keep track of them. Okay. Yeah, these are all getting added. So I'm going to keep track of these. So far, I'm adding those 3 for sure. These are really good starts, man. And we're just getting started in this disc. So next song is Legacy. Let's go. Yes. It's so good. Legacy. The legacy of his time in the city, the legacy of how he's approached the nostalgia that I spoke about earlier, right? The idea that you are coming back to something you love. So this time, Fayetteville, he framed Fayetteville as like a lost love, right? And that that perspective is great because it really shows you and this is my theory. I'm sure as people come out with more ideas about what these songs are about, I'm sure we're going to figure it out. But my theory for Legacy is he's talking about Fayetteville, North Carolina, like a lost love, like a divorce or a breakup, wanting and longing for somebody, having these great times, being nostalgic of what was, and having to accept what is. That is the hard part, right? About anything you love. And in particular, I understand this because I am from Philadelphia, right? I'm originally from Philadelphia. I was born there. I was raised there for a little bit and then moved a lot. And I landed in Atlanta, being here for many years. But when I go back to Philly, I do feel this echo of something I once loved. Like I love the city. I love where I'm at, where I'm there, having fun. But there's a part of me that is like, man, this is not the place I remember. You know what I mean? It's been so long since I've been there that it doesn't. It's a place I love, but it's not a place that I feel attached to like I used to. And I think that's what legacy is. And as we continue to listen to more of these songs, I think we're going to build on the narrative that Fayetteville, North Carolina is this, and his relationship with that city is part of the conversation, specifically with regards to disc 29. So, let's go on to the next part, Bunts Road Blues. Let's do it. This is one of the best. I think this is probably the best song so far. This has to be the best. But Bunts Road Blues was great. First of all, there was like 4 parts to this song. There were like 4 parts. The first part of the song, musically, see, this is it's dense. Okay, well, stacked. All right. So let's talk about it musically and then lyrically. Okay. So Bunts Road Blues musically was a journey, right? First, you start off with this incredible melody, right? It's really light, it sounds like bells, right? I use synth sometimes, as you know, I'm a musician myself. So there's like this synthetic, the synth bells that they're using, which sounds great. And he comes into it very aggressively. Like he sounds like almost like a early 2000s, mid 2000s, like SoundCloud rapper with the way that he's flowing on it, right? It sounds very like an older way of rapping, right? Like an older flow, okay? And as he keeps going, you're listening to him and he's discussing how he used to be in his neighborhood and the way he felt driving around, right? There was a familiarity that he had with the streets and the corners and the angles, and he still has memory of the streets and stuff and knows where everything is. But for some reason, as he's driving around, he's lost this sense of love, right, for where he was. And as he kept driving around, he just talked about like, oh yeah, this used to happen over here. And I remember that happened over here. But there is still this disconnect that he feels from his city. And he believes, kind of from the song that I'm hearing, that the distance from the city and being around everywhere else, there was this destruction of the relationship that happened with that distance, right? Usually they say distance makes the heart grow fonder. But in this song, it sounds like the opposite. The longer he was away from the city, the more disillusioned he became with it, right? And then you get to the part where musically it kind of breaks, right? There's like this orchestral section. It just sounds it's like these violins and everything just starts to swell a bit, right? And then it almost sounded, the whole song really gave this kind of bossa nova, boom, like it just sounded great, right? And then Tim's, it sounded like Tim's. I don't know if that was Tim's or not, but I know the voice of Tim's when I hear it. I'm pretty sure that was Tim's. Tim's comes in and starts singing this chorus, and it was beautiful because it kind of tied together everything J. Cole's been saying so far in this first disc, right? It's this idea that I have this lost love and I have this aggressive feeling of longing for this place and this thing and this person. But when I'm engaged with them or when I'm actually around them, I feel the disconnect again. When I'm away, I feel longing and I miss them. When I'm there, I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here. Like that's the push-pull relationship that J. Cole has, I guess, not only with the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, but with the people there, right? And I looked it up, right? I wanted to look up like the crime rate, and it's really high. In fact, it's higher than not only the national average, but also the state average, right? It's a lot going on in that city. And it's clear even when he was interpolating Nice and Slow, right? 1997 Usher's Nice and Slow, 7 o'clock on the drop top. And when he was singing this part, he was kind of discussing how he's in his drop top cruising around and realizing how terrible the city was. Like, it's like he is so demystified right? By Fayetteville. It's not this place that it used to be. And he realizes that now, right? And yeah, it just sounds like lost love. It just sounds like he's so disconnected from it. And you can hear that he's mad about that. He's like, but this city built me. This city is what brought me to who I am today, right? It developed me into this person. And without this city, I would not be J. Cole. I would not be the J. Cole of now. And I think he's really wrestling with that idea, right? Falling out of love with the city that made him who he is. So this is interesting. Like, I'm loving this. I'm loving this, this relationship kind of breakup that's happening between him and his city in this first disc. I don't know what the second disc has to offer, right? But this is great so far. And I'm definitely adding that to my playlist. That's awesome. Okay. Who the fuck is you? Yes. This is great. This is just him talking his shit. Honestly, that's all it was. Like, he was just saying, look, I don't care what y'all got to say. I'm that nigga. Y'all can't stop me. I am who I am. And it sounds like, and I'm going to say this again, because I truly believe this is the theme of the first disc, right? The first disc 29. The theme he sounds really young. He sounds very youthful. The flows, the way he's addressing the audience, the way he's addressing himself, the way that he's talking about his trauma, like, he sounds young. Like, this is a younger version of himself, kind of dispersing these emotions within the song, you know? And then as you get into this song, even the way you're looking at its title, like, it's all bold. Like, who the F is you? You know what I'm saying? I'm that guy. I'm J. Cole. Can't nobody beat me. I'm that nigga. Like, y'all are not on my level, so don't even worry about it. Go ahead and move on. You know, start a new career, because this one's not it, right? I got the flows. I'm legendary. I'm that guy. Like, it was just him going at it, letting us know who he is. This is great. As we keep going, I'm just getting more and more excited for what's to come. Would I put that on my playlist? Not yet. I got to think about that one a little bit more. It was a fun hit. The beat was very old school. I mean, the way they had some flares in there that were like from the 80s, like early 90s. Really great mixtape era. But I got to listen to a few more before I decide on that one. Okay. There are some that I listen to that I'm like immediately, yes, that's on the playlist. There are some I got to think about. That one I need to think about. But the next song on the list is Drum and Bass. Wow. This man is one of the best storytellers in the game, bro. He is one of the best storytellers, bro. Oh my God. Yes, he talks about Fayetteville. He talks about his time away from Fayetteville. So my theory was correct earlier. So we went on with the rest of the album. Okay, we're starting to understand. So from the top to now, we're understanding that his disillusionment comes from his distance. As I said earlier, his distance, right, really made him, it was about becoming richer. It was about becoming more wealthy and more successful, right? And when you come back to your hometown, there's a certain level of danger that you have to assess, right? And that is what his previous song Safety was about. The guy was calling him, yo, don't come, like, stay over there. In this song, it's very clear that he is comes back to Fayetteville, right? He is flying around, you know, having a great time, living his life around the city, around the world, and comes back, right? And he talks very vividly around the second half of the song. He lands in Fayetteville. He links up with his buddies. They go to a party. Everyone in his hometown knows who he is, right? You're a legendary rapper. You're from this city. Everybody knows who you are. Okay. And as he understands this, he starts moving in a different way. Girls that he used to not, think he had a chance with before, he got a chance with now. You know what I'm saying? He's moving in a way that's different. And near the last third of the last quarter of the song, he starts talking to a girl. He's like, oh, I finally got the chance to talk to this girl I didn't get a chance to talk to before. Okay, let's chop it up. He starts chopping it up. And there's this guy who keeps coming up to him trying to talk to J. Cole. He's like, hey, man, I got you. Relax. Like, chill. And if you listen close enough, you can hear the guy say, oh, all right, we'll see about that. Right? The very last 10 seconds of the song. By the way, J. Cole is doing this last 10 seconds of the song thing like a last credit scene, right? That a lot of Marvel movies do, and it's really interesting, and it's not called last credit scene. It's called the I forget what it's called, but the end credit scene. Like there's the last scene at the end of the movie. He does that with his songs here, and it's really interesting. So the last 10 seconds, the guy, you can kind of tell was the guy who was upset with J. Cole, went back to his car. You could hear the car door open, and you could hear him load his gun, cock it back. And that was the end of the song. That's what I heard. And so it's interesting. Like there's the story being told here that he knows inherently he needs to stay away from his city. There's a certain level of danger that one can experience being too close to their hometown. A lot of rappers have experienced this. We have talked about this time and time again on my channel and others where, you know, Young Dolph, XXX Tentacion, you know, you got other rappers like PNB Rock, or I don't know necessarily him, but definitely Nipsey Hussle, where you go back to your hometown and you become a victim of your own environment, right? And so he is really holding true to this thought, right, in these songs, like, I am gonna come back, and if I do, I'm kind of afraid of what will happen, or I've been back since, and there's this weird eeriness about being back here that it doesn't feel familiar like it used to. Brilliant. The storytelling on this. And I don't know if you guys could tell, I actually added this to my playlist immediately. The first few bars, I was like, yes. This is certain songs. You're just like, yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, let it out. Let's go. Wow. This was my favorite song musically. This was incredible. It was a hip hop opera. It was a hip hopera. The Let Out was a literal horror story. It was like a hood horror story. And it was, the way he spelled it out was great. Okay. You got to listen to the song. But long story short, basically, you know, coming from a position where I've been in the hood, lived there, understood how you go to certain clubs, certain parties, and things just go wild at some point. People get a little crazy. But this perspective was so great because it goes back to his original drum and bass and some other songs that talked about the dangers of him being in the hood and him going back to this certain place and him trying to be part of the culture again that was his neighborhood, also knowing there's an inherent danger. And the first third of the song was a guy that was basically like the promoter letting him know, hey, there's some guys plotting on you. Like they want to get you up out of here. Like they want to kill you. Y'all got to go ahead and go. I don't know where y'all got to go, but y'all all got to get out. So they basically let the whole club out. And the let out is when everyone leaves the club, right? So during the let out, he is aware that the guys that want to get rid of him are literally on their way to do it. And he talks near the middle of the song. He talks about how the girl he's with like holds him around his waist like, oh, baby, I want you. To me, that almost sounds like a setup. Like, you know that there are people that are coming after me. You want to hold my waist and tell me that you want me while we're trying to rent out the club? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Like, I see it, right? And then the last third of the song is him like, are we going to survive the let out? This is crazy. People start shooting. They want me dead. They want me to get up out of here. It can happen to me, right? It's a cautionary tale. If it can happen to me, J. Cole, it can happen to you, young rapper. It can happen to anybody, right? In the last, very last part of the song, there's this, again, this cautionary tale. Like, you know, you go to the club, people don't want to go home. Things going to go get, you know, start getting crazy. Folk gonna start, you know, turn a good time violent, you know, and that's the let out. You know what I mean? Are we gonna survive the let out? But let's talk about the way this song is put together. It sounds like an opera, right? It really reminds me of a hip hop version of the Bohemian Rhapsody, right? First of all, J. Cole's vocal layering is incredible. It sounds amazing. It feels great listening to it. His vocal performance on this song is outstanding. It is so good. And the way that he actually, the timing of this song is not a usual hip hop timing, right? That's another way you can kind of tell this is not a usual, like, you know, regular rap song. It the way that it timed out was it sounded like a play, right? Like an opera. And as the timing went on and the story continued, it really did in your mind as you're listening to it. It's so vivid, right? You can feel the air, you can hear the sounds, you can see the people running around and rushing. It was so great the way that he put that together. This was probably my favorite song lyrically, musically on the whole album so far. And it was just told the story so well. And wow. That was just great. Now I'm excited for the rest of this, and we're not even halfway through. We're just about halfway through. So we got 2 more songs before the end of the entire first disc. So, and mind you, this is a double album. Okay, so the 12 songs is usually enough for one whole album. He's doing a double album, 2 discs. Okay, 12 on one, 12 on the other. We're getting 24 total songs. This is crazy, and the quality of each song is insane. I haven't heard a drop off in quality, production, musicality, vocal performance, nothing, no drop off. This is great. The fall off, where? Okay, where did he fall off at? Anyway, next song, Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas. This is some of the best production I've ever heard on a hip hop album. Like this is so good. Bombs in the Ville / Hit the Gas did like this major gear shift in the first third of the song. It was good. Like, it was good at first. It was flowing. It was great. Then it was like he put it in 5th gear, man. And there was a beat that they played in this. There's a sample. I can't place it. I can hear it in my head. And I can, if I thought about it a little bit longer, I could place it. But the way they slowed it down, they chopped and screwed. It was nice. The whole song was great. And the latter part of the song was just, it's very similar to what you heard earlier, right? Disillusionment, sadness, nostalgia, missing his city, missing how he felt while he was in it, missing who he was as a person. This song was more about who he was as a person, right? Centering on how he misses who he was back in the day, missing, the fact that you cannot rewind time. Like where you are now is it. What you experienced, the highs that you saw and the things that you felt are not what it is now. And you have to accept and come to grips with that. And this spells that out so well, but also just his vocal performance is really shocking me in this album. The way he's hitting some of these high notes, I'm like, whoa. I did not know J. Cole could sing like this. I've heard him, of course, in his other albums, right? And he sang, melodies and stuff like that. But nah, like, he's hitting notes in this I didn't know he could hit. He's doing vocal stacking I didn't know he could do. And then it's funny because near the end of the song, he's like, oh yeah, the fall off is when a rapper can't change his sound. This is a sound I've never heard from J. Cole. I really hope this is not his last album, because like, this is a different level of J. Cole. I am in awe with what I'm hearing right now. Okay, next song. Last song also in the first disc, okay, of disc 29. Last song, Lonely at the Top. Bonus. Let me just say this. If J. Cole just made song 1 through 12 on this disc 29, that was the entire album. This was incredible. This was some of the best work I have ever heard from a hip hop artist in the last 20 years. This alone, disc 29, 1 through 12. Amazing. From Safety, Run a Train, Poor Thing, Bunts Road Blues, Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas, Lonely at the Top. Let's talk about Lonely at the Top. Lonely at the Top encompassed everything I theorized he was trying to say from track 1 to track 11. Lonely at the Top is exactly what it sounds like. He did not understand how to frame what he felt for a while, but he climbed the mountain all the way to the top of success, to the top of hip hop, right? I mean, again, when people claim, obviously before 2024, right? Most people claim that J. Cole was literally the top 3, right? Like, he was between Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole. Those guys were the top 3, okay? Of the rap game, of the entire genre. Those guys were the top 3 of the entire genre of rap and hip hop. So where he's at now is saying, well, I made it to the top. Like, I did it. And now that I'm looking around, there's not a lot of people up here. And most of the people that were here fell. And now I'm alone. And now I don't know what to do. There's no one to look up to. There's no one to aspire to, because I am that person. Like, I'm at the top. Ignore Drake, ignore Kendrick, right? He's in his own particular sound and lane outside of those two guys. And he's realizing that when he looks to his left and looks to his right, he doesn't really see them as equals, right? He believes, truly believes, he is the number one rapper in the rap game right now. He has reached the top of the mountain. And he truly believes that when he looks to his left and his right, he does not see anyone next to him. Not Drake, not Kendrick, nobody else. Out of the millions and millions and millions of hip hop artists, successful or not, he literally does not see any future in continuing his career. Like, if he would have ended the album here, I would have been like, whoa, that this is revolutionary. This is revelational. This is great. This is intense. I love it. But he didn't end it there. And that's what makes it so exciting. He was like, no, wait. Before I end it there, let me say this last thing. Disc 39 is I'm excited because it's like, I'm not done yet. Actually, wait. I'm not done yet. Let me say this one more thing and then I'll go. Right? So he got to the top of the mountain and it's like he got there and he said, wait, but there's one more thing I got to do. And disc 39 is that one more thing that he has to do. So, okay. Ooh, it's like I'm watching an action movie or something. This is crazy. All right. Disc 39 intro is 6 minutes long. Oh my God. He's talking his shit. All right, let's go. Here we go. I almost cried listening to this. J. Cole is by far, this is the greatest album I have heard in a long time. The way J. Cole brought back what sounded like despair and giving up what he felt like was his seat at the table. Lonely at the Top, the end track of disc 29 or disc 1 was him reaching the top and saying, man, okay, I think I'm done. But 39 intro, track 1 of disc 39 was one of the most encouraging, triumphant, and incredibly positive tracks I've ever heard on a hip hop album. The way he said, I climbed out of the mouth of despair. I took the noose from around my neck. I took it off. And what people thought I was gonna do, I'm not gonna do. I'm not giving up hip hop. I'm not going anywhere. I felt like I just watched this man resurrect from the dead. It was like, okay, I'm done. And then he came back, was like, no, I am not. In fact, I'm going to show you why I am the best rapper alive. And I'm going to tell you guys something right now. I haven't gotten through the rest of the 11 tracks at the of disc 39, but I'm going to tell you something right now. J. Cole is by the end of this might end up being, in my opinion, the greatest rapper alive right now. This is beyond incredible. Wow. Okay. Wow. I need some popcorn. This feels like a movie. I feel like I'm watching a hero's tale right now from beginning to now. This is amazing. I need some popcorn. I need something to eat. Y'all give me a second. Okay. All right. I'm back. I had to give me a bowl of popcorn. I got me something to drink because we about to go crazy on this. All right. Here we go. Whew, this is great. All right. The fall off is inevitable. Here we go. Yeah. So this is the song that he released on social media. His life in reverse. And again, it already feels like this album is doing that. It feels like the album is sort of speaking about a younger version of J. Cole in the first disc 29. And then coming into disc 39, and now he sounds more mature. He sounds more mentally capable, emotionally mature, right? There's a certain depth of him to him just in the first 2 songs that I can hear. And I love the storytelling of watching his life in reverse. The meaning of that is not necessarily there per se. I think it's more so 10,000 foot view of everything he's experienced. But I think the rest of this part of the album is going to tell us more. So I'm excited. Okay. The Villist. That was great. Love it. Talking to his younger self, talking about trying to come up, being the best, then getting to this point where you realize that like you can do as much as you can, but there's always going to be trauma that follows behind it, right? So the trauma with regards to J. Cole has a lot to do with his father, right? As a man myself who did not grow up with a father fully in my life, who eventually did leave, right, for 10 years actually. There's a part of every young boy that feels the disconnect from the world because their father is not there, right? And so he speaks on that. He speaks about how his father had a certain past and he was an army vet and, you know, he had partying and drugs and stuff like that. I couldn't quite tell if he was saying his father is now dead or if he's just gone or if he's around but he couldn't make up for his past transgressions. But it was very clear that even in the way that J. Cole ended up taking and interpolating Outkast's song Elevators, it was interesting the way that they were using that song to, you know, as a through line for the rest of the Villist. And so he felt pride in what he did, but as a young man, he always felt like there was something lacking and that the relationship with his father wasn't there. And that is what he felt like was lacking. And so this album is very introspective. I think every artist, every hip hop artist makes an introspective album. This one feels to be the most like magnifying glass to his soul, right, that I've heard in a while. So this is good. Okay. Track number 4 on disc 39, Old Dog. I love that. Okay, great. I like that. That was very he's using a lot of old school hip hop from the South, from like the trap era, from like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's really great. I love the way that he's putting this together. Old Dog is great because he's basically saying, yo, I'm that guy. Y'all can't mess with me. I've been around the block. If I come back to the Ville, I can do what I want. Because I'm an OG. Like I can get around because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing and y'all can't stop me. Right. And the other part that I like really, he speaks about his independence. Now let's remember this, right? He said he paid his dues and he's fresh out of slavery. And so I imagine this entire album is going to be under his label of Dreamville, right? And so I looked it up. It says J. Cole has established a largely independent career by operating through his own label, Dreamville Records, which he founded in 2007 with Ibrahim Hamad. While historically affiliated with Interscope for distribution, Dreamville has moved toward greater autonomy, with reports in 2025 including the label ending its UMG deal to operate independently, ensuring the artists retain control and ownership, which means through his record label, every artist that signs under him has ownership and control over their own art, which is amazing. And so listening to him talk about that, he is an old dog. And the new trick, okay, is providing ownership and really breaking the mold in the industry, right? Allowing independent artists to still maintain their independence, but getting the help and the marketing push and the clout that J. Cole brings with his name and his connections. You know, I would go as far to say that, you know, J. Cole is really doing some incredible work within his Dreamville label. And so, you know, with artists like Jid and others, he's doing a lot. And for him to come back on this album and really let us know, like, yo, y'all don't understand. Like, I got it. He's right. He's absolutely right. He got it. He got it. So, all right, next song, track 5, Life Sentence. All right. So this is so far my favorite, one of my favorites on this entire part of the album. So Life Sentence, it's about love. It's about actual love for his wife, right? His wife, Melissa. And him and Melissa actually have been married since 2015. Me and my wife have been married since 2015. In fact, me and my wife have been married since February of 2015. So as of the taping of this, I will actually be married married for 11 years by the end of February. So listening to stuff like this is amazing because, like, you know, a lot of hip hop artists, they don't tend to have long lasting love. You know, we see so many artists, some that you can, I'm sure, name right now off the top of your head, who have not been able to grow up in that way and get married and have kids and, you know, really live that lifestyle of singlehood, or excuse me, of married of marriage because they want to live the lifestyle of singlehood as rappers and artists, you know, traveling to, you know, this island nation and that island nation and swimming with hot women and being on the jacuzzi on the yacht. And, you know, there's a certain point, like J. Cole saying in the song, you don't want to do that anymore. Like, he did it and he enjoyed it, but like, you know, I got this day one, I got this person I really love. And, you know, especially somebody that was there before the fame, before all of this happened. Very similar. I identify with this because, you know, my wife was here before the followers, before the views, before the brand deals, before the money, the ad revenue. My wife was there way before that. And like, I definitely identify with this song. It's an incredible love song, and it's great. I love this, and I'm glad that he wrote this. And he even said himself, this is the realest song I think I ever wrote. And I think this is the first time I ever heard J. Cole write a love song to or about his wife. Love it. That's great. So next song, Only You. Okay, Only You would sound like another love letter to his wife. I mean, this guy, I tell you what, life sentence and Only You, dedicated to his wife. Talked about how the birth of his sons blew his mind, how this woman really, he owes her everything. He owes her his I mean, everything, you know. And there's a last part of the song that speaks about, you know, holding himself down and trying to be the man that he wants to be, or that his wife deserves for him to be. And that's what he is striving for. And so what I'm enjoying about disc 39 or the second disc of this album is that it's very retro, it's introspective, and it's mature. It's coming from such a mature, quiet place of like this grown-up version of J. Cole that appreciates all of these other parts of himself, right? Outside of just the hood and what he experienced and his trauma, but also the people that built him, right? His friends, his family, as well as, you know, his experiences, and most importantly, his wife. And so this is great. The way he's framing this last part is wonderful. Now we have a few more tracks left, and I want to hear where he's going with this. Is there a big crescendo? Is this going to die down and just fizzle out? We'll see. Here we go. Man Up Above. Okay, I like this song a lot. Now, you can tell I did because I added it to my playlist. And it's because the interpolation that he did with Never Could Have Made It by Marvin Sapp was great, because it was interweaving into this narrative about how you would not have made it without, you know, respecting people around you and keeping your distance and understanding how to move in and out of the hood and knowing how to operate in a place of danger, right? And so he spoke about how you got to be careful speaking about the dead. It doesn't matter if they're your ops, like you need to respect them. God's wrath is pretty intense. You don't want to deal with that. In fact, here's a story about a guy who, you know, is going through a bad breakup, baby mama drama. He got in trouble with the law. He was selling drugs. Now he has to go to jail. And while he's going through all this, he's listening to gospel music and trying to pray so that he can, like, you know, basically clear his soul of everything that he's been going through. So I like this a lot because it goes back to this concept of J. Cole is he of course has many songs where he's speaking to the hood, he's speaking to younger people, he's speaking to those who are in really bad, messed up situations. And this song in particular is great because it really is like, hey, listen, you know, I don't know what your religion is or what you believe in, but, you know, here's an idea. God, you know, pray a little bit, maybe read your Bible, get some religion, and try to work your life out from there. And I like that. J. Cole has never been outwardly religious, although a lot of his songs do center on religion, like about God and stuff. But this song was pretty heavy handed. I mean, you know, even Marvin Sapp's song. Marvin Sapp is a gospel artist. And I can tell you this right now. There's going to be some people who are fans of Marvin Sapp who are going to be mad that his song is associated with J. Cole, a rapper who on every side of the chorus is talking about selling drugs. So I don't know how they're going to feel about that one, but you know what? I like it. It's on the playlist now. So next song, I Love Her Again. That was great. This song is an interpolation of Common's song, The Light from 2000. Now, if you don't understand this song and you're like, who is he talking about? He's talking about hip hop. He's, from what I'm hearing, from the way I'm theorizing and listening to this, he's talking about hip hop. how it was something he loved. They had such a great connection. They had a relationship. She was with other men. He used to hear her all the time. He connected himself with her. Then over time, they started to grow distance with each other. He said a line where it was like the older she gets, the younger she tries to act, right? So hip hop in a very similar way, as the genre gets older, the younger it tends to sound and be. And he basically just comes to this conclusion that like hip hop has basically been slutted out. It's been hoed out. And he doesn't like that. So he feels like he has to save her, right? And they get back together and he's saying, I love her again. He found his love for hip hop, the genre, music, the culture. Again, that's what this song I Am Gathering is about. And it's wonderful. The way he phrased it is very similar to the way Common did in 2000 on his song, The Light. In fact, they use the exact same like chorus, right? Never knew a love like this. Got to be something for me to write this. Very similar. And it's great. Again, J. Cole is really attacking in such fashion these subjects, man. And he's using past songs and inspiration from other artists. I mean, so far, guys, we've heard what? Jesus. We've heard Outkast, we've heard Common, we've heard Lil Boosie, we've heard Marvin Sapp, we've heard Usher, we've heard all these songs he's been interpolating because he's putting this whole project together as an homage to not just black culture, but the genre of hip hop and R&B. And he's really giving us this almost nostalgic view of his his life as an artist, right? What he heard growing up, what he was exposed to, and how it informed his artistic expression. And so the way these songs are forming is just wonderful, right? And so the second part of this album, right, disc 39, is him showing us that he's coming back to himself. He's pulling himself out of that darkness and he's falling in love again with hip hop. And he's falling in love again with his wife, and he's falling in love again with himself, right? There's a self-discovery on this last part of the album that I really enjoy. And it's really coming together. So we got 4 more songs left. Track 9, What If? So I have an interesting theory about this song. I think this song is a double entendre. I think it's both about Tupac and Biggie, because it's rap from the perspective of Tupac and Biggie. Biggie is the first part of the song. Tupac is the next part of the song. And I also believe that when listening to it, what I'm hearing is J. Cole lamenting about his relationship with Drake. That's what I'm hearing. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But I know some artists like to do this thing where they interpret what other rappers sound like, right? So DMX, Tupac, Biggie, people like to rap and make it sound like their voice makes it, they flow and sound similar to these guys. That's what J. Cole is doing. I don't think I've ever heard J. Cole do that before. And so it was interesting hearing him rap like Biggie, hearing him rap like Tupac, and they're speaking to each other in a way that basically would have, if they would have been nicer to each other and a little bit more understanding and empathetic, they actually might still be alive. And I think that's what J. Cole is saying. But I also, again, think J. Cole is a double entendre. I think he's speaking about Tupac and Biggie, but in the same way that he would be thinking about Drake and his relationship, right? What if things didn't go left? What if we would have just spoke to each other? What if we would have just been the bigger man? What if we would have just went about this differently? What if? And so I think that J. Cole hasn't responded directly to any of the beef stuff happening, right, in 2024. But I think this song might be the closest to that, just because it sounds very like, I wish bygones could be bygones. I didn't like the way this went. I wish we could still be brothers. I don't like the way that all of this fell apart. Because you got to remember, J. Cole and Drake, they did a whole music video together, right? They were the top dogs of hip hop and came together and did a song. And that's really one of the things that struck up the beef of 2024, right? And so the reports came out that J. Cole and Drake fell out. Okay, that's the reports. And a lot of people are upset about that because they feel like J. Cole got the Drake stimulus, right? Many people feel like everyone at some point got the Drake stimulus and they owe Drake something. But J. Cole really did distance himself from Drake for multiple reasons, probably, right? Some of which being the allegations, other things maybe just be his behavior during the beef or just in general. And so this song might be about that. Maybe in his perspective, Biggie is himself, J. Cole, and then maybe Tupac is Drake. But either way, I feel like it's a double entendre. He's speaking from both ends. I don't know. That's a theory. I don't know. But that's my assumption. So we only got 3 more songs left, guys. Here we go. Quick stop. J. Cole is one of the best storytellers in the entire genre of hip hop. This story was so incredible. I actually didn't know where it was going to go. I thought it was a dangerous story, a story of caution, but no, it was a story of triumph, right? Because this last disc of this album is about triumph and overcoming. And so this story that he's telling is all about how he was, like looking like a homeless guy, riding his bike around, decided to drive today. And he kept his hoodie on, just to avoid getting swarmed by people, fans and haters alike. And as he's driving, he runs out of gas, or he's about to. So he pulls over, but realized he didn't have a hoodie on that day, right? Which is kind of scary because, he looks like J. Cole. So while he's pumping the gas, a guy comes up and says, well, you look really familiar. Obviously he does. He's J. Cole. He comes up to him and he's like, oh my God, you're J. Cole. You're amazing. You got me through when my mom was tripping. You got me through when I was in my hardest times. I'm over here trying to make $1. And like every time I'm listening to you, I bought your albums. You're the best. J. Cole in this moment was afraid at first because he didn't want hatred. He didn't want to get a bunch of people just like dragging him down. But then he realized that this guy was coming from a genuine place, right? And J. Cole in this song, Quick Stop, had come to the realization that what he's been trying to avoid was hatred and criticism, but he's been ignoring real connection and people recognizing his legacy and his impact on them. So in the song, he's discussing how you need to stop focusing on the negativity and think about how you are making a difference in someone's life. That's what matters. Not the money, not the fame, not all that. Have you made a difference in someone's life? Has what you've said or what you've done or how you've moved, right, made a difference in someone's life? And I think about that a lot with my own content, with the things that I say and do online. And getting messages of people saying, thank you. You're like, this is great. I appreciate it. Like that does something to you. And that did something to J. Cole. It made him realize, wow, I am in this space where I'm like judging myself and being angry, but really I need to just be appreciative that I'm able to make an impact on someone's life and that the impact is positive and I'm doing something that is really causing somebody to feel better and get them through their day. And man, why am I so negative on myself? I need to remember that I'm doing all of this for a purpose. And the purpose is to make an impact on someone else's life positively. And that song is one, again, the storytelling is, oh my God, it's amazing. The way he puts it all together, man. And there's only 2 more songs left. The technical end of the album is And the Whole World Is the Ville. But there's a bonus ending track, which is the 12th track of the album, which usually makes a complete album. There's 12 tracks, which is called Ocean Way Bonus. So let's get into the second to last track, And the Whole World Is the Ville. Another great storytelling. I mean, this album is so good. This guy just keeps doing it, man, from beginning to end. Being able to speak about Fayetteville, North Carolina, the way he does, it started in the first disc as like lament, as regret, as longing, but distance, right? And now again, the second part of the album is more so about him becoming, right? Him introspectively examining his those emotions that he once felt about Fayetteville, right? And then realizing that it all begins and ends in the city that birthed him, right? What we all strive to do, right, is find ourselves. And that's what we do every day, right? We find ourselves through what we do, through what we eat, through how we interact with people. We are trying to always become. And this is J. Cole's becoming. This album is his coming home to himself, right? And Fayetteville, North Carolina is not about him. It's about who he was while he was there and who he is once he goes back, right? He said in the song that, I'm an honorary Queens guy, Brooklyn, guy. And but I'm still a Southern dude. Like, that's who I am to the core of myself. That's who I will always be. And people who lived in Fayetteville knew that no one from this city ever got a record deal, so I made it happen. I knew the record deal wouldn't come to me, so I went to the record deal. He found Jay-Z in the street. He handed Jay-Z a record, right? A mixtape. Jay-Z listened to it. Jay-Z signed him. This is his success story, right? He's a door knocker. He's a dude that went to the success and found the success by pushing his way through. Okay, and that is who J. Cole is. And J. Cole forgot that. J. Cole, it's clear to me that he forgot who he was. And when you are in the midst of your success and you got the millions and you got the money and the hoes and the cars and the planes, you seem to forget like why you're doing this all in the first place, right? That's what I'm hearing. I don't have any of those things, right? But I'm understanding that while he's flying through the sky on his private jet or whatever, he's almost forgetting how he even got there. And he had to remember by going back home to Fayetteville, by being and engaging himself with the neighborhood and the people and listening to the voicemails and trying to reassert himself back into the community, where he came from and why he does what he does. That's why the song Quick Stop is so important to this narrative. It's about realizing that your impact was the entire point, never the end goal or the money or your bank account being big or having a bunch of. The main goal was to take care of your family, make your mama proud, and make an impact on the world. Those are the three things that this last part of the album is discussing that he had to realize. It wasn't about everything else. It wasn't about saving the hood. It wasn't about being Captain Save Everybody. It wasn't about, having to fear for your life. It was about making those that are closest to you proud, making yourself proud, and being grateful for the impact that you have on other people's lives. That's the Fall Off album, right? Except this last one. We got to listen to Ocean Way Bonus and see what he has to say. Here we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fall Off album, disc 29 and 39. Guys, let me tell you something. That last song, Ocean Way, it is clear to me that J. Cole has one of the best voices in hip hop. He, in fact, could indeed make an entire rock album, alternative rock album, and I would listen to it because his voice is powerful. His range is actually pretty big. And I'm not entirely sure why I haven't heard J. Cole sing to this degree before, but the way that he's putting his voice on this album is actually astonishing. His voice sounds so gritty and it sounds so textured. He really could be on a rock album. He could. That last song was a rock song. That wasn't a hip hop song. What was that? That was really good. And it's so interesting. Like, I'm listening to it. I'm listening to one of the greatest rappers of our time, literally making an album that had an opera on it, that had a rock song on it, that had incredibly intricate storytelling on it, that had some of the most introspective, lyricism and deep cuts. And I mean, the interpolations were great. This is probably going to be album of the year or in the running for album of the year in the next Grammy cycle. I can guarantee it. But also, not only that, this proves that J. Cole is still one of the greatest acts of our time in hip hop. If I may, I truly believe this album has cemented him as the greatest hip hop artist right now. Right now, this puts him at number one. I don't really care what anyone has to say about that. His range, his versatility, the production, the instrumentation, the vocal layering. This is it. This is the album of the year. It's only February 6th. The year just started. This is it. I would love to see a hip hop act come with something else. I definitely want to review some other albums. I know that some other acts just dropped. I know Don Toliver dropped, but this coming from, again, J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick, those are the top three that we keep talking about. Right now, this album put J. Cole at number one. I don't know what Drake and Kendrick got stored for the rest of this year. GNX did great, right? 2025. The fall off is 2026. The fall off is going to have 2026 in a chokehold. That's my opinion. That's where I'm at. That's my theory. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this, man. I really appreciate it. There's a certain aspect to this that really has me excited, because it's making me realize how valuable J. Cole is to the culture. And I'm so glad that I got to listen to this album and realize this is not the fall off at all. In fact, I believe this is J. Cole's ascension. I think this is bringing him higher onto the charts and onto all of our collective lists, all right, of interest. I don't want him to go away. I don't want him to feel like he needs to disappear. I don't think he feels like that at this point. I think he felt like that, but now he realizes how important his influence is on this genre. And so they say this is his last album, but keep in mind, he was signed, his initial, foray into hip hop, into professional, record deal hip hop was under Jay-Z, who, by the way, retired 3 times. So let's relax. I don't think this is J. Cole's last album. I do believe that this was his deepest, his most introspective album. I think this was his greatest work. I know 2014 Forest Hill Drive was at the top of everyone's list for the albums that he has made. I believe right now, as I sit here, that this is J. Cole's greatest work. I think this is J. Cole's greatest album. I think this is J. Cole's magnum opus. That's where I'm at. I don't know what you believe or what you think. That's my opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. That's it. This album was incredible. Thank you guys for engaging with me, watching this. And if you feel the same, let me know.